Hello everybody, my name is Kane. Faction leaders, which ones are good and which ones are bad? In this video you will know both. Starting with Roland, the castle faction leader. When the game began, this was the first faction leader on sale for $100. Many people have bought it, however this hero is so weak that even some basic heroes with decent formations can beat it with ease. If you ever question which faction leader you want to buy for 100, never, and I do mean never, choose Roland. It will be sort of a free acquire throughout events in the near future. And what is free, it is not worth that amount of money. Roland's specialty is to buff castle units as well as provide high morale for any units, even if they are not castle, with his ultimate. A little spoiler from Chinese version, he will be buffed in the future, so he will be able to provide high amounts of magic resistance, and free-to-play players will be using him since he will be free. Moving on to Sandro, Necropolis faction leader. Many people do say he's a weak hero. It is in a sense both true and false. False is because he is a huge threat to your rankings very early in the server, as well as Necropolis shards can be purchased from the packs or acquired throughout events. So to have a fully decked out Sandro is very easy in the new servers, but is it worth it? Well, it is up to you to decide. There is a person close to 8 million power on my server and I am able to do more than 50% damage to his field without having any privilege buffs. If I do indeed buff myself, only 3 tanks and a level 8 artifact dragon remain out of 8 units on his field, and that is with a 2 million power disadvantage. So it is strong, but only if you heavily invest into the game. We are talking thousands, and you will need to keep investing money if you will want to keep this hero top rank. I have managed to turn quite a few players away from Necropolis into Astral, Gem or Dragon Muter, and most of them thank me for it, because they realize how easy it is to beat Sandros with the current units and heroes released in our global version. In conclusion, very strong early, but falls pretty fast and hard once you start getting your units decently upgraded. The Tsar, Fortress's faction leader, is a hero that is pretty new in our global version. Not many happen to test him yet. Some who did can say he is strong, others say he is average. Personally, I do not have Fortress players on my server, so I cannot judge based on experience. However, the formation I have myself, I would not have any issues playing against them. They can perhaps counter those factions who have a lot of heals, such as Gem, perhaps Astral, Kilgore, and so on. Astral, I am not entirely sure because Genie and Airship heals can be pretty strong. But if they manage to deny both of those for long enough, perhaps offensive units of Fortress could break through Astral's front line and do in fact beat him. Again, I have not seen much on global of this faction, so it is hard for me to really make a conclusion. Xeron, Inferno's faction leader. Well, there is a good and a bad thing with this hero. The bad thing is, they are showing no love whatsoever to this hero or faction in general. I think I pretty much killed this faction by showing what Xeron and Devil can do from the Chinese version. So they perhaps are delaying all content related to this faction so it would not take over the meta like in China or Korea, where Devil is so strong he just one-shots nearly anything that he does jump on. That is not a tank. In our global version, at the current moment of making this video, Xeron is so weak that I would place him just above Roland and Kilgore, and in some cases Kilgore, the Stronghold's faction leader, would have no issues beating the Xeron. However, that is without the Devil's Awakening, and that is a huge changer for Inferno, unless of course they nerf it. Knowing the global version and that they said they will have some changes, perhaps they will. I know a long time ago I kinda advised in getting this hero, but now I am not really sure and I would not advise anyone getting him. Kilgore, the Stronghold's faction leader, I would say he was pretty strong whenever he came out. The formation and units he has are built around a sustained fighting. What that means is that they do not have instant burst damage, but rather strong tanks and a strong backline, but no burst damage. So they want the enemy to attack them and put them into rampage state to double some of their passive buffs from the skills, and Kilgore can heal them back to full in about one ultimate skill or so. This formation is in a sense very weak compared to others who may have instant burst damage. Personally, when fighting many Kilgores around my power, I am able to kill 3 or 4 of their backline units in around 10 to 15 seconds in the match before Kilgore's first ultimate, none of us being buffed by the privileged mana buffs. So faction leaders such as Dragon Muteer, perhaps Xeron, if they do ever show some love to Inferno, are a huge counter to this formation. If I can provide some Chinese spoilers, this formation is not very much used in the future because of its type of fighting, so I'm not sure if I would want to bet my $100 on this faction leader either. CL is the Conflux's faction leader. On this one, I will start straight with the Chinese spoilers. This hero is a free sign-in faction leader, so literally all of us will be able to get her for free. Now don't get too excited, I am not sure when this will appear on our servers. Further using Chinese spoilers, she's one of the weakest, probably the weakest faction leader in Chinese servers. Even something like Roland eventually outscaled her. Conflux did not have many awakenings, and because of that they just got completely outscaled by all other factions who did in fact get them. Now, I am not saying she's not worth spending, that decision is solely up to you. There are quite a few people who bought her and do not regret it, because she appeared to be pretty strong in our version. All you need is a strong front line to be able to soak all the damage, and if you get that, CL will probably be able to beat quite a few faction leaders, not sure if all of them, for the time being. She looks pretty fun to play and or use, and she does in fact make some enemies very salty when losing against her. Now we are entering the best 3 heroes in our global version at the current moment. Gem, Astral and Dragon Muteer. Starting with Gem, Rampart's faction leader, she was recently released to our global servers, but many people have been prepared for her. We all thought they would release her as they did in China and Korea. However, they decided to tweak this hero a little and they just cut some of the buffs she would be able to provide in half. But even so, she is that good that she can time out basically almost any faction leader in our version. To beat her, you need to counter her, and to counter her you need specific units, such as Serpentfly, which is the easiest one out of the 3 currently. The other 2 are Dendroid and Manticore, preferably in the same line, so they can kill the first ramp or tank in a few seconds. In many cases, if you do not have any of these 3 units and both of the ramp or tanks are alive, congratulations! You will be timed out even if you have 2 minutes to kill both of them. That is Gem, most likely the best hero to use for defense formations in arena and anywhere else. Whether or not she can perform well in PvE events is kinda questionable, because too many enemies need to be killed fast or they will kill you fast instead. So if you want to get her, the goal would mostly be for PvP. Dragon Muteer, Dungeon's faction leader, I am using her most of the time in almost any PvE or PvE events. This faction leader at the moment can synergize well with quite a lot of units and or factions, like Inferno, Rampart, perhaps some even Fortress units like Viver and so on. Her field-wide stun for 6 seconds is an insane game changer, especially for PvE content, where you can easily destroy enemy backlines in a few seconds. before they're able to one-hit kill your own tanks. I would deem this as the second best faction leader just because of the PvE potential it can bring you, and it can also perform quite well in PvP. With my own formation, I can easily beat Astrals as well as gems that I do face in Kingdom vs Kingdom. You can also use this hero as a stepping point before your main one becomes powerful. Like me, I am investing into my Devil and waiting for until Xeron and Inferno becomes very powerful, in between using little resources or freebies to upgrade Rampart and dungeon units to use in the formation. If I can add some Chinese spoilers, Dragon Meteor is probably the best formation that costs the most in the future, and I'm not entirely sure whether it is the strongest. Just because of the units this faction will need to perform at a competitive level. If judged at the current stage in the global version, probably one of the must-have heroes to do well. And finally Astral, the Tower's faction leader. From Chinese spoilers that we were able to get, this faction leader will probably be the most powerful out of any, for a while. Some others like Dragon Meteor, perhaps Xeron, if they don't nerf it or over nerf it, could beat it. All because they have a strong front line and they have a lot of healing throughout Genie and Airship. As well as the further the fight goes, the more stacks their units have and the stronger they become. In Global, Naga is the strongest tower's damage dealer for now, but in the future, Giant will overtake Naga by doing more or less 4 to 5 times her damage. So if you think Naga is doing insane damage now, the future is only going to make this faction better. In conclusion, if you want to be strong, overpowered, and you do not want to think you have wasted your money by buying something that is weak, I would recommend buying Astral or Dragon Meteor, perhaps Gem if you do in fact like Rampart. Any others, yes, you can make them strong, but the question is, what future will bring them? I do love the Inferno faction and their playstyle, but I'm not entirely sure whether or not they will burn them to the ground. Anyways guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.